Hello, everyone. So, the end of the year is always a rush to kind of try to fit in reviews of all the stuff that I think is nifty and interesting and might make its way onto my, top spirits list, because that list is really all about spreading hype to stuff that isn't really getting a lot of hype. But in that process, other things keep getting pushed away down the queue, and sort of things accumulate a little bit. And one of the things that tends to accumulate, because I don't necessarily want to give it more hype, is heritage American whiskey distilleries. So this week is going to be the cleanup week. This is the week where we're going to try to review all the bourbons and ryes, mostly bourbons, that have landed in my queue boxes over there, awaiting my tasting out and reviewing. And today is Death by MGP. We are going to review a whole bunch of various sourced bottlings, ultimately from MGP, to see what's what. Let's get this started. First one is Ledged Out, and this is sourced from Houndsman. Houndsman. And this is an MGP sourced bourbon. More about these later. This is 1816 Indiana Rye. It's from the Fenwicks Distillery, of course. But of course, it isn't actually from the Fenwicks Distillery. It's from MGP. That goes in there. Backbone micro batch series. Although, of course, there's not a whole lot micro going on here, because it's a bourbon source from MGP. I got a lot of these from the shared pour random bottle sale, so all these were hilariously low priced. And if even one of them is any good, I will have made my money back. All right, so Pinhook Bourbon War, also an MGP sourced effort, and then we got, this should be a fun one, Dancing Goat's Limousin Rye, a whiskey distilled from a rye mash, ultimately from MGP, that was aged with French oak staves. So this might be a standout. A little more than that. We're just going to go up in order of ABV. Like, no reason to get this too complicated. And lastly, this one came out a few years ago, but you might still be able to find it. This is Ransom, 16-year-old bourbon, sourced from MGP ultimately, although I think they did a lot of the aging at their own facility in Oregon. And there we go, 6 American whiskeys from good old MGP in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. Let's get this started. So, of course, I think it's gone under a whole bunch of different names. This facility, it's technically Ross and Squibb now. No one calls it that. Everyone just still calls it MGP. All right, Ledged Out. This is series number 1, small batch. No idea what the mash bill is, but it is do they have an age on this? No, but it's 90 proof, 45% ABV. And portions of these sales go to protect the American mountain lions. That's awesome. Let's see what this has got. I mean, very classic heritage, legacy American bourbon distillery nose. What are you getting? You were getting vanilla. You were getting sawdust. I'm getting a little bit of a herbaceous note. What is that? A little bit of like a very light sprinkling of dill in there. Don't get too excited. Those of you who really like the 95.5 mash bill. It's just a little touch of herbaceousness, like a little dill, a little oregano. It's some dessert cherry as well. Relatively light on the nose. Custard. Sure, let's go with that. More sawdust. A little bit of elote, a little bit of like toasted street corn. Smells like a nice bourbon. Let's see what we got on the palate. It's a nice bourbon. The fact that I like it makes me think this is not one of the lower rye MGP mash bills, but it doesn't doesn't strike me immediately of the high rye mash bill either. So I'm not sure exactly what's going into this. All right, what are we getting? We are getting similar stuff to the nose: vanilla, custard, a little bit of toasted nutshell, sawdust. That's actually more interesting on the palate than on the nose. There is that little dusting of herbs, little touches of oregano, a little sage, a little dill. Slightly floral on the finish. That's fun. That kind of street elote thing, like little sample square of maybe some hearty rye bread. It's a fine, perfectly fine, delicious American bourbon. Nothing to get too excited about, nothing to make your heart sing, but it is doing the job. It does what it says on the label. Let's give this some water. Decent finish, decent mouth presence. No complaints for the prices I paid. All right, moving on to our first rye. This is 1816, again from Fenwicks down the road in Rensselaer in Indiana. That's the best I can do with that. And they are distilling their own stuff, I believe, at Fenwicks, but this is not it. This is sourced. 50.8% alcohol by volume. I don't know anything else about this, but we'll give it a shot. On the nose. Immediately more grainy. Some like hearty wheat bread. Maybe some multigrain bread. Black pepper. Which weird, I wasn't really getting black pepper on the what is this, ledged out? We got black pepper in here. A little touch of dill again, but also some freshly picked mint. Vanilla, sure. A little creme brulee. What is that? Cinnamon sticks? Nutmeg? It smells like a good American rye. On the palate. Again, these are so far. Both these are kind of showing up better on the palate than they are on the nose. The mint thing carries through. We got some fresh mint, a little fresh basil in there, some dill, parsley. I'm digging the herbs. Hearty multigrain bread again, cut by vanilla, cinnamon. A little bit of like a burned autumn leaves thing. A lot of black pepper. some like recently used French roast coffee grinds. So these are not like musty grinds. They've not been there for a while. You brewed this coffee like half an hour ago. They haven't started to ferment yet. It's fine. We're not leaving the safety zone of American whiskey by any means, but it's fine. It's delicious. Other stuff to say, I mean, mouth presence is okay. Finish is kind of hanging around. Tannins are a little bit aggressive on this guy. It's really most of the tannins on the finish. A lot of the other stuff fades relatively quickly, but it's not uncommon for the style. Yeah, no complaints so far. All right, moving on to the Backbone. Where's this from? It's from Backbone Bourbon. I don't know if this is a distillery, but it is 69 months old, which is almost 6 years. Math on camera. So, yeah, 5 and some change years old. And it smells like MGP. All right, so there's a little bit of take a whole bunch of sawdust, and put some vanilla essence and a little bit of maple syrup on there. That's a lot of what this smells like. B-grade maple syrup, earthy maple syrup. Not really getting the herbaceousness on this that I was getting in the Ledged Out. It's more like syrupy. I am getting some cherry again. Like dried cherry, but also some like IHOP syrup cherry. More pepper. The graininess on this, we're not getting really corn. It's more like, yeah, let's go waffles. Why not? As long as we're sticking with like a breakfasty theme. There's a little bit of a waffles thing on this. Maybe some coffee too. Sure, like boiled down diner coffee. So yeah, smells very breakfasty. Smells fine. Oh, with some cinnamon too. Yep, there it is. Clove. Okay. And some sweet tea. Why not? On the palate. Oh, did I add water to this? I don't think I added water to this. All right, let's stop what we're doing. Add some water to the Fenwicks. 2 squirts. Sorry, lost my attention for a second. Backbone kind of tastes like it smells. Cherry IHOP syrup mixed with a little maple syrup, dried cherry, coffee, more tea leaves, like black tea leaves, not nice black tea leaves, but black tea leaves. All that kind of mixed together with some sawdust, some vanilla, some like chopped up waffles and pancakes, breakfasty starch. A little bit of that kind of like burned autumn leaves thing. A little bit of that is getting in here, which I'm enjoying. Maybe a little bit of sage. So we got that kind of MGP herbaceousness creeping in here, but it's really all about syrupy breakfasty stuff. It's fine. It's delicious. This is going to be interesting scoring these things because they're all fine. They're all fine. 2, 3. Let's see if we might need 4. I'll go, yeah, let's go a little bit more. Half a squirt more. All right. Bottle 4. This was not from the shared pour random bottle sale. This Bourbon War 8-year-old from Pinhook. This was actually sent to me by mistake. I ordered something else. Some apple brandy, actually, and they sent me this. And yeah, sometimes that happens. Anyways, so what do we got? This is the 5th of 9th vintages in this vertical series. So this is a series where they're basically just watching some barrels age. And this one is the 8-year-old. It is 57.3% alcohol by volume. And let's see what we got. Ooh. More, yeah, this one's more tea driven. Like overstewed Lipton's tea. And there's some like, what is that? Nut brittle, mixed nut brittle. Again, Child of the South. This is one of the things we had. Nut brittle. Beyond that, you got the burning leaves thing. Interesting. I wonder which mash bill this is. Got a little bit of like a, I mean, certainly grainy, but it's like a little bit of a Wheaties thing. A little touch of basil in there. But really, like it's the tea component, the Lipton's tea thing that is standing out to me. Some nice peppery notes, black pepper. As long as we're on the cereal theme, Honey Bunches of Oats is in there. I mean, it smells like a nice American bourbon. I mean, for the most part, but it's got the its own little story to tell within that very, very narrow genre. Yeah, vanilla, creme brulee, not really sawdusty. We're staying on the Wheaties, cereal end of things on the palate. This one is having the most trouble on the palate, actually. Interesting. You would think this would be the light. Hang on, let me try the ledged out one more time. Yeah, no, the Bourbon War has a little bit more of a punch up front, but it falls off a cliff a little bit. Hold on. Yeah, nice attack on the front, but very little mouth length. We are not hitting my tonsils. And even the stuff up front, which is nice, it doesn't stick around that long. It's you keep the spicy spice. Most of the other pleasant elements are fading pretty quick. Let me see if I can get you some notes. Yeah, nut brittle, mixed nut brittle. Overstewed Lipton's tea, big time, super big time. Brown sugar, jaggery, proper brown sugar. Vanilla. Now I am getting a little bit of sawdust. Mixed herbs, basil, parsley, oregano. There's a little bit of fennel on this. Yeah, like a little bit of an aniseedy thing. Especially, as it fades away into the finish. You get a lot of kind of fennel and black pepper. Kind of hanging in there as the spicy thing. Some clove. I mean, there's some heft on the front of this, but I got to be honest, not my favorite of the first four, not by a long shot. a name like Bourbon War, you expect like it's going to show you a thing or two, but yeah, I don't know, not so much. Give this some water. See what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll probably do 4.5. Let's see. Uh-oh. That didn't seem to like the water much. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. I dare not add more than that, and that was only 4 squirts. Okay. Now we're getting fun. Dancing Goats Limousin Rye. This is again, it's not legally, you can't legally call this a rye because they aged it with some French oak staves. But this is batch B14C. It is 11 years old, and it is 62% alcohol by volume. And again, random bottle, I think it was a random bottle pick. And I'm excited. Here we go. On the nose. Hello. I mean, actually, much more subdued on the nose than you would expect from the label. It does smell very dark. Yeah, there's some peppery notes coming out, some dark chocolate coming out, but really it just smells like darkness. You know, it smells like Darth Vader. Come on. More dark chocolate, some vanilla, certainly some graininess, some like burned oatmeal components. But overall, yeah, pretty subdued. Chocolate and pepper are the main things I'm getting on the nose. All right. That's a little bit of a bummer, but let's see what happens on the palate. Much more interesting on the palate. Very different from the rest of these. And that would be the French oak component. In terms of the mouth presence, for me, kind of walloping everything else here so far. This is very, very impressive on the palate. Really covers the whole thing. Grippy, textured, peppery. It gets way back into my tonsils. And just does not let go. So, super duper impressive mouth presence. The notes are very pleasant and very fun. It's not that complex, ultimately. I don't think I'm going to score this into the stratosphere just because it's a hair bit simple, maybe. Just a hair bit simple. You are getting dark chocolate. You are getting tons of black pepper. Some, like toasted multigrain bread goodness. There is some fennel. There is some basil. A hair bit of mint, fresh mint. Cherry, not even, let's go Dr. Pepper. There's a Dr. Pepper thing on this. Vanilla. Clove. Allspice. A little bit of like burned nutshells again, which is fun. Okay, maybe it's more complex than I initially thought because I'm naming a fair bit of notes, but it's very direct. Maybe that's what I mean to say. Yeah, I mean, from what I've tasted so far, this is winning. This is winning it. Let's give it some water and we'll see what happens. It's 62%, so it can take a lot. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll stop at 5. I'm tempted to go more, but I'll stop at 5. And now the 16-year-old. Ransom. 16-year-old bourbon, which I think... I don't have the label in front of me right now, obviously, because it's a sample bottle. But I do remember them saying something about the handmade with Oregon water on this, despite the fact that it's sourced from MGP. They did do a lot of the aging on premises in Oregon. So I'll give them, and maybe they proofed it down a hair bit with Oregon water, but I'm not giving them more than that. 62.5%, 16-year-old MGP. I think this is the oldest MGP I've ever had. Let's see what we got. It smells like a rum, honestly. I am getting a ton of fennel on this. A lot of oak. Vanilla. Just like, I can't even do sawdust. It smells like stewed oak chips, but nice. Oak hardwood smoke. Graininess. I'm gonna go honey bunches of oats again. Maybe a little bit of honey nut Cheerios as well. Yeah, there's certainly some honey. There's some cane syrup. Again, we are fans of Steen's in this household. We basically pour it on everything. Steen's cane syrup is awesome, and it is an important flavor note to know. That cherry syrup thing, the cherry IHOP syrup thing, which I was getting in the Backbone, that's here. I'm looking for herbaceousness. Maybe, there's black pepper, aplenty. There's overstewed black tea, aplenty. Herbaceousness? Not really. There's a couple of flowers, including maybe some flower stems, but I'm not really getting the MGP herbs on this. It just smells darn oaky. It smells like a lot of tropically aged rums, aged in ex-bourbon barrels that I've tasted. On the palate. Ooh. Really oaky, aggressively oaky. Tobacco. I was missing tobacco. There is some tobacco on the nose. Black Cavendish in particular. It's an oaky boy. It's a tricky oaky boy because it's got a tremendous fennel and minty basil thing, especially in the back end, which is fun. A lot of tannins, a lot of overstewed sweet tea kind of stuff happening. But especially in the front end, it actually feels remarkably thin. Yeah, a little thin. Whammo. Big old herbaceous tannic finish. I don't know. This is fun, but it's also the kind of thing that a lot of bourbon drinkers will not like. A lot of bourbon drinkers will find this not necessarily over oaky, but they will find this light on the arrival, thin on the arrival. Maybe water will help with that. We'll see. Yeah, a lot of coffee cake, cinnamon. I already mentioned fennel, but yeah. basil, mint, some flowers again. Cherry IHOP syrup, vanilla. Just a lot of sweet tea. As a child of the South, I would recognize that anywhere. Black Cavendish tobacco, along with a little bit of stoved red Virginias. Okay, there is some graininess to this. Actually, some elote, a little bit of like way in the back behind the oak, but you have to go looking for it, but it's there. A little bit of street corn, toasted street corn. And, chewy, chewy burned autumn leaves. So in some ways, we're coming back to the ledged out. It feels a little bit like an older, much oakier, much more rummy, if you will, version of the ledged out in some ways. Let's give it some water. We'll see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, I'm tempted to give it more. But I won't risk it. All right, yeah. So, spoiler: nothing's hitting 90 here for me. I mean, I think the Dancing Goat is probably my favorite of this bunch on first run through, but unless these really step up, they're just, they're not going to hit the 90s at all. And that's kind of been my problem with MGP. Like, I know this is going to be heresy, and I shouldn't be saying this on video to the internet, but I've never been a huge fan of MGP stuff. I thought a lot of their recipes are very good. The 95.5 rye, the 51.49 rye and malted barley is fantastic. I love it. I wish there were more examples of it out there. Even the basic high rye bourbon recipe. I mean, there's a lot of individual recipes I've been excited about. Not the low rye bourbons. I don't like them very much. But even so, I don't remember ever being sort of super wowed by MGPs very much. I don't know. So they just don't hit me too hard. And maybe that's not where you are. Maybe you disagree. That's fine. You can leave a comment telling me I'm dumb and my taste is all wrong down in the comments below. And the algorithm will thank you for it. But that's kind of where I am. And I kind of feel the same with these. All of these are fine. They're delicious. They're good examples of their kind. But I'm not falling in love with any of them. Right? It's like speed dating. Like you sit down with a different person for a couple of minutes and you like them. They seem fine, but there's no red flags. Nothing is wrong, but there's just no, you know what I'm talking about? All right, let's stop blabbing about MGP, Ross and Squibb, and we're just going to taste these through one more time. All right, ledged out one more time. Yeah, this is the one that feels like the most just straight up basic example of MGP to me, and that's not bad. It's not blowing me away, but it's not bad. Changes from before, on the nose, not really. Bourbon leaning towards the slightly more herbal, aromatic, bright end of things. But without actually throwing any citrus at me. I'm not getting any citrus on this. I like the little touch of herbalness or herbaceousness. I like the little street corn thing, but yeah, there's not a whole lot to this. It's fine on the palate. I don't think that like the water. It's gotten a little bit more peppery. It feels like and the tannins are kind of sticking out a little bit more. And they're holding on longer, but everything else is kind of fading faster. Or maybe I'm just like misremembering this. Hold on. No, this is better without water. And don't tell me I drowned it, because I didn't. It's still holding it together. It didn't like the water. It's still fine. I mean, there's really nothing to object to about this. It's got some fun herbs, a little bit of dill, a little bit of what is that? Oregano, parsley. It's got some sweet teas. It's got some coffee cake. It's fine. It's just once I put this back in the box, I will totally forget about it. It's that kind of bourbon. And that's where we are with this. I'm going to give this one more time. I'll call this an 83 minus. I think it's okay, but yeah, and certainly not very serviceable, especially for the random bottle price I paid for it, but not something I'm going to remember in the future. All right, let's move on to the 1816 from Fenwicks, but not actually from MGP. On the nose. You know what? I don't know if this one is actually like the 95.5. I don't think it is. It's grainy. It's bringing an herbaceous character. The basil, little couple sprigs of mint. But it just doesn't, it doesn't help it, throwing the intense graininess, the intensity at me that I expect from that mash bill. It smells very nice. It smells like a good American whiskey. Not really any development on the nose. Maybe a little bit more, maybe some flowers coming out now. That's kind of it, though. On the palate, it's a good rye. I mean, whatever the heck this is, it's bringing some mint. It's bringing some multigrain bread, some cherry, some vanillas, some basils, a little fennel. It's a nice rye. That's about all I can say about it. Can I get beyond an 84? No, this is an 84. It's an 84, which again, for the price I paid for it, is completely reasonable. 84 points for the 1816. All right, moving on to the Backbone. This was the breakfasty one, right? Still very breakfasty. Yeah, we are at the Waffle House. And we are pouring all the syrups, and we are drinking coffee, and just stuffing waffles and pancakes into our face. And that's awesome. Not really any development on the nose. Once again, it's kind of the nature of these spirits. They don't really do much when you kind of challenge them, when you push them. And that's fine, because they're still yummy on the palate. If you told me that the 5-year-old MGP bourbon with nothing else going for it, would be at the top end of this tasting. I probably wouldn't have believed you, but I haven't given this a score yet. But I would think this is going to be in the top end of this. There's some pretty fun decadence here. Honestly, it hasn't really developed much. There's maybe a little bit more grip on the tannins and pepper, but it's not throwing it out of balance at all. This is a nice, yummy, decadent bourbon. Lots of cherry, lots of syrupy stuff, kind of maple syrup element. It's yummy. Can't go crazy on it, and I won't even give it extra credit for the little improvement in the mouth presence, because it was fine before. But I will call this an 85. 85 points. But I suspect the kind of upward scaling of the scoring is about to end now. Let's taste Bourbon War. Bourbon War from Pinhook. It's 8-year-old. It's way older than this. It should be better. And yet, no. It smells like tea leaves and autumn leaves kind of blowing by. A little bit of herbaceousness. There's some, elote happening. Whatever that one MGP mash bill that I don't like is, I would guess it's this. I'm guessing it's this. It just, yeah. I mean, it's kind of lame, honestly. We'll see if it beats the ledged out, but we'll see on the palate. Serviceable is the best way I can. That's the best I can do with this. It arrives fine on a kind of vanilla sweet tea, lightly herbaceous kind of note, and then the back end, especially now that I've added water, there's just not a lot happening. It doesn't even like tone down the back end anymore. It's just toned down the front end. This is better without water, but it almost doesn't matter because even with water, I wasn't really finding this that interesting. One more time. I have to try this and eat it one more time. It is better without water, but to what end? I mean, it's just... I'm sure when I, look for Reddit scores for this, there's going to be like some 9 out of 10s, there's going to be some 8 out of 10s. I just don't see it. Like, this is very basic for me. I mean, this is... Like, I struggle to find nice things to say about this. It is, you've got the perks of a high proof bourbon, big ol' arrival. That's it. That's really all you're getting with this. It's so basic to me. I'm going to give this same. Is it better than the Fenwicks? Hold on, or the ledged out. Nope. Bourbon War has more intensity on the front end when it arrives than the Leaded Stout, but it's less complex, actually, of all things, and it's got less going on the back end. So, yeah, it's a wash. I'm going to give this the same score. 83 minus for Bourbon War, and if you like this, you're wrong. I'm sorry. Sorry. Moving on to something I did actually like. The Dancing Goat Limousin Rye, 11 years old. I'm doing a lot of bottle pulls today. Jesus. All right, on the nose. Still not very expressive on the nose, this. I'm getting some, some frosted shredded wheat a little bit. A little graininess, like burned oatmeal. Chocolate again, black pepper again. But really not more expressive than it was before. That being said, it wasn't really a strong point. Let's see what happens on the palate. I mean, just. It's still not totally my style, but for me, for my palate, this is burying the previous 4 bottles. Completely burying them. We're in a different world here. Peppery chocolate, that's been marinating in overstewed sweet tea. That's a lot of what you're getting here. Maybe throw a few sprigs of herbs in there. Basil, mint. Sage. Little florals. That kind of fun graininess. I mean, again, we're not hitting the 90s. It's not... if we're speed dating, this is... It's nice. I'm enjoying it, but, we're not making a love connection here. But it's very good. This is very good. Picks up absolutely nothing with water. I think it's pretty much where it always has been. I will call this... I'll do an 87. We'll do an 87 pointer with this. 87 points for this Limousin Rye. And let's move on to the Ransom 16-year-old. I mean, it's really between these two, the Ransom and the Dancing Goat, in terms of what's going to win this. This one also not very expressive on the nose, honestly. It smells syrupy. It smells old. It smells like rum, but nice. It's a bourbon rum. I mean, when we talk about bourbon rums, we in nerdy spiritstom, we usually mean rums that are trying to present as bourbons. This is a bourbon trying to present as rum, which I appreciate as a rum nerd. I appreciate that bourbon is kind of trending in this direction. I like the fennel. I like the herbs. I like the black Cavendish on the palate. So sometimes when you give water to an old oaky spirit, all you're going to do is kick out more oak. You're just going to bring out the tannins, the pepper, and you're going to throw the whole goddamn thing out of balance. That is not happening. Water actually brings it together. This is nice. Oh, that's pretty. The foundations, the bones of this are still basically the ledged out. Like, at bottom, if you strip this down, you're getting sweet tea and a little bit of herbaceousness and sawdust and cherry stuff. And that's kind of what this is. But on top of that, you're adding some really impressive, like, darker tobacco notes, some syrupiness. I like the fennel. I like the, I like the little herbs. Oh, black pepper. Is it better than the Dancing Goat? I think it's a little bit better than the Dancing Goat. It wasn't there before I added some water, but now it is. This is an 87 plus. Just a little bit better. And yeah, that's your score. One more time. 87 plus. Good stuff. And yeah, here we are. So, like, tied for last is the... I find this more respectable because it's like, it's just more honest about what it is. Ledged out. 83 minus. Really basic bourbon, better without water, but fine. And then the Bourbon War, also an 83 minus, but let's, step up from that. The Fenwicks 1816 Indiana Rye. I thought this was a very, very serviceable rye, but, not one I could get excited about. And then, a little bit better than that, if you like decadence and, breakfast at the Waffle House, here you go. The Backbone Microbatch Series, 69 months old. And here are your winners. These two. It's Dancing Goat Distillery Limousin Rye 11-year-old batch B14C with 87 points. And a little bit better still is the Ransom 16-year-old at 62.5% ABV. And yeah, that is the video. Tune in next time, Jesus, for when I do, non-MGP... like blends and other weird, sourced heritage American whiskey stuff. Thanks for watching and cheers.